Shalom to the elect of Israel. Got to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, and a sincere salutation to all the Akim, pushing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, waking up the hopeful elect. Shalom to the Agwa who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah coming at you another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification. This is another Saturday edification, another daily edification, another camp edification. And this is another video from AMTV about the 5G. Lord's willing, this be edifying.
Hey everybody, Christopher Green, Alternative Media Television. Please take a moment to like, share this video, get it out to your friends and family. Click the bell, otherwise you will not get our video in your subscription feed. They do not want you to have this information. The President of the United States, you might even hear him in the background, is actually speaking right now on 5G. And the reason is, as I've said for many, many months and many, many years, 5G is a military weapon. It is a military operation, and there would be no other reason the President of the United States would be speaking right now on this topic. He would just ignore it. He wouldn't give a speech on it unless it was absolutely huge. It was absolutely massive. It was the new Sputnik moment. It was a military endeavor, kind of like when we were building nukes in the war against Russia during the Cold War, when every American was fearing a nuclear blast and a nuclear bomb going off in an American city, where you were propagandized and lied to about things like landing on the moon, which, in my humble opinion, never ever happened. Ever. It's a lie. It's BS. We've never been there. Do you really think that they would broadcast and live stream landing on the moon when the risk was about 90+% to the upside, that the astronauts that allegedly landed wouldn't even survive, that they would die right on camera? You think your government would actually risk that kind of failure at a time when we were fighting a nuclear arms race with Russia? No way. Dude, no way would they do that. Not unless they had already confirmed that we actually were going to do it successfully, and or if it was just a fiction and a lie from the get-go. It was just one giant Hollywood production. You know, kind of like how they tell us Julian Assange was abruptly escorted out of the embassy, yet he still had time to carry a book with some guy's face on it, pointed at the camera, point his face at the camera, like some Hollywood studio production while they were carrying him out. I mean, what if there was like some kind of device or something in the book, or like a weapon or something? Why would they just let him take that out with him? It doesn't make any sense. And again, it's a ruse. Case in point, Israel yesterday allegedly attempted to put a rover on the moon, but they failed because we've never been there and we've never been back since, what was it, like 40 years ago? So you're telling me we went to the moon. Let's just say you believe that official story. We were there like 40 years ago, a long, long time ago, but we've never been back since, ever. In Israel, one of the technological giants where a lot of our technology comes from here in the United States, can't even land a rover on the moon successfully yesterday in their attempt not to even put a man on the moon, but just put some kind of device, which failed and lost communication. See, it doesn't make any sense. But the point is, going back to 5G, 5G is a military weapon. It's a government operation. It's where the payment systems and the payment networks will be operating on. And it'll be used as a mass surveillance control grid, as well as a social credit scoring system that they've already rolled out in China. This is what a totalitarian, Brave New World, Aldous Huxley dystopia looks like, and it's exactly what the 5G tech is. It causes cancer, radiation. There's been multiple cases recently of people dying as a result of just the cellular Wi-Fi that we have now. There was 4 children diagnosed at a school here in the United States because there's a cell phone tower outside of the school, and they refused to remove it until now, until 4 diagnoses of cancer. It causes oxidative damage. It can also be used for mind control. We know this through declassified documents, MKUltra and others that prove that to be a valid fact. It's not an opinion, and it's not a conspiracy theory. Again, Donald Trump jokes about how they're going to roll out 6G next, but the only reason he does that is because he's trying to normalize 5G, the military weapon.
I want to thank you all for being here to discuss a critical issue for our country's future. Winning the race to be the world's leading provider of 5G cellular communications networks. It's all about 5G now. We were 4G, and everybody was saying we have to get 4G. And then they said, before that, we have to get 3G. And now we have to get 5G, and 5G is a big deal, and that's going to be there for a while. And I guess at some point we'll be talking to you about number 6. What do you think? Do you think that's true, Asia?
Again, he wouldn't even be speaking about it to the public right now on my cell phone via the White House unless it was just that, a weapon. And it's what it is. It'll be used to control the American people, and many of you tuning in around the world. It's been rolled out in other countries, and whoever dominates this technology will control the world. It's called the electromagnetic spectrum, the EMS. You probably heard of EMP, where the grid will go down like that potentially in the very near future, which I actually think is coming for at least a very short period of time. That's why we also urge you to be prepared and diversified in your risk basket in preparing for what we know is obviously coming to the United States. Again, yesterday was the death nail in the coffin for internet freedom. Theresa May on video is actually rejoicing in the fact that Julian Assange, whether or not you like him or not, but all he's done is simply leaked the truth out to the American public, and the politicians don't like the truth getting out there. I mean, what did he even put out there? An image and a video of U.S. troops and our government shooting down innocent civilians during the war in Iraq? I mean, that sounds like a war crime to me. It sounds like a humanitarian crisis. But as was the character, the late deceased, what is his name, Vidal, on the book, proves, you don't live in a democracy here in the United States. It's not even a constitutional republic anymore. It's been hijacked and taken over by a group of elite oligarchical families that rule over all of us. They've now merged with technological giants, which are now big government. They're one and the same. And there's only like 4 or 5 of them in existence. There's no regulation. They're never going to raise interest rates. They can't. They'll never do it in your lifetime. Nor are they going to stop the bailouts. Donald Trump is, again, speaking about 5G because it's a military rollout, a military weapon, and it is America's new Manhattan Project. Whoever dominates and leads with this new technology will dominate the world. It will control AI and artificial intelligence infrastructure. It will control the micro drones that go on missions and assassinate world leaders because a rogue government just simply doesn't like another country. The entire technology and rollout of 5G is a control system. Again, it affects everything humanly possible, from payments to government control to brainwashing, mind control, so that you only have access to information that the government wants. It's also why they're putting up satellites out in space so you can't get out of the grid, right? They've got to keep you in this Orwellian system at all times. Very, very dangerous. And that's not to mention the health effects that we know. And they've done no studies on.
So luck you for that. But I want to say this anyway. These Edomites creating this 5G and all these different weapons to destroy the righteous. This is Psalms 37, verse 7. Rest in the Lord, Yahweh, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. These Edomites are trying to destroy you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indian, and Haitians. This is Psalm 37 and 15. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. So all these things that Esau Edom is creating to try to destroy us so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, West Indian, Haitians, they're going to be destroyed, man, okay, with their own devices. This is Psalms chapter 9, verse 15. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, in the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the works of his own hands. This is Psalm chapter 10, verse 2. The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. And that's what's about to happen, man. These Edomites is finna fall into their own traps, man. Their own traps that they set. This is Job chapter 5 in verse 12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. So these Edomites, man, with their wicked devices, really ain't gonna work, man. Okay?
As I'm sure the government has, but they've done no private studies on the health effects of 5G, and we already know people are dying from the 4G and the 3G and the 2G and the 1G stuff. In fact, there's a gentleman who was just in the news. He was a heavy cell phone user. He always had the cell phone to his head. It's why you're supposed to use the speaker phone. Just developed a tumor in the same spot. He continuously held that cell phone. Again, Donald Trump is speaking about 5G technology because they're waging a war against other countries and a war against everyday Americans as they continue to violate your amendments and the Constitution through illegal search and seizure, continue to wiretap, spy on your devices, spy on you and your family, put Alexas and other devices in your home, listen, monitor, scan, and record everything you do, which will be used in a court of law with not even habeas corpus anymore, because it seems like that's gone away too. Again, you're now guilty until proven innocent in this country, not the other way around. 5G, get this message out everywhere, is a weapon of the state.
This is what the Edomites do, man. This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. This is what the Edomites do, man. They create devices to try to kill the so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian Haitians, man. This is what they do, man. The wicked. They live by their sword, man. There are many inventions, their devices.
I expect very dire consequences to this, and I expect a very dire series of events coming as a result of this brand new military technology. And let's be clear, it's a military technology. It's not a private technology. It's why Donald Trump and the state and all these government officials are very, very interested in it, because it'll be used to control you and the entire globe. We'll see who the victor is in the coming years. Will it be China? Will it be Russia? Or will it be a declining empire here in the United States, which has spent itself into oblivion and barely still resembles a republic at all? I'm Christopher Green. Get this video out everywhere. Make it viral. Share it. And God bless.
These Edomites is a trip, man. But they are the wicked. Okay? That's why David said, save me from the wicked, which is thy sword. These Edomites is the sword of Yahweh by Shah. So their job is to be wicked, man. Got one more video I want to play.
Welcome back again, everyone. It's Dina Kalmeta here with CWW7 News. And for today's broadcast, to wrap up the week, I'd like to bring you some updates that have occurred in the last couple of days. In fact, we are going to talk about the United States, Russia, Israel, Iran, Turkey, and Syria. And in fact, I'd like to take you to this first report in regards to lawmakers meeting on Wednesday from Russia, Iran, and Turkey to discuss the Golan Heights. Lawmakers from Russia, Iran, and Turkey are calling for Syria's territorial integrity to be preserved as remarks from Israel and the United States have renewed long-standing land disputes, and after U.S. President Donald Trump had recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. The legislators from Parliament Foreign Affairs Committees met Wednesday in Moscow for a special session on Syria. A Russian state news agency quoted an Iranian parliament member as saying the discussion was a good beginning, stating that we confirmed the necessity of preserving the territorial integrity of Syria, especially as far as the Golan is concerned. Meanwhile, by moving forward with the recognition, the Trump administration is sending an important message to Russia, Iran, and Syria. The United States stands with Israel in ensuring our most important regional ally as defensible borders against a broad spectrum of threats. It goes on further to report that to anyone who has ever stood on the Golan Heights, it is perfectly clear why the area would be vital to any successful attack on Israel, and why Israel, once in control of the strategic plateau, could never relinquish the Golan Heights and keep itself secure. What I find truly amazing is that the same nations that are mentioned in this news piece are the same nations that are mentioned in prophecy, particularly Ezekiel 38:39, as well as Isaiah 17:1. So definitely something prophetic is happening. And I will continue to follow this report and bring you updates. But I would like to move on and talk about Iran next. Fox News is reporting Kentucky Republican Rand Paul is pressuring the Trump administration to pledge not to attack Iran without proper war authorization in Congress. A call that comes after Secretary of State Mike Pompeo left the possibility of a military action against the Islamic Republic open. Pompeo suggested on Wednesday that the U.S. could strike the Iranian regime using the authorization for the use of military force that permits actions against al-Qaeda and other groups responsible for the September 11, 2001 terror attacks. Pompeo stated that the factual question with respect to Iran's connections to al-Qaeda is very real. They have hosted al-Qaeda. They have permitted al-Qaeda to transit their country. There is no doubt there is a connection between the Islamic Republic of Iran and al-Qaeda. Period. Full stop. But Pompeo's comments alerted the Kentucky senator who has long criticized the executive branch for waging foreign wars without getting approval from Congress, as it is supposed to, while always justifying the military actions with the AUMF. Paul pressed the top diplomat to commit not to attack Iran under the AUMF, telling the administration that any action against the regime would have to be approved as set out in the Constitution. However, Pompeo declined to commit to Paul's proposal, noting that he prefers to leave the legality of war issue to lawyers. Paul snapped back with, "I am troubled that the administration can't unequivocally say that you haven't been given power. I can tell you explicitly, you have not been given power or authority by Congress to have war with Iran in any kind of semblance of a sane world. You would have to come back and ask us before you go into Iran." So it has to make you wonder, why are they having this conversation? Is the United States planning on a war with Iran? Now, hopefully not, but things are definitely tense right now. And I will continue to follow this report and bring you updates. But speaking of which, I'd like to take you to this next report from the Washington Examiner. And they are reporting that 3 Cold War statements are warning that a nuclear Armageddon can still loom between the United States and Russia. A group of Cold War air policy veterans have sounded the alarm about the potential for nuclear war with Russia. Former Secretary of State George Shultz and former Defense Secretary William Perry and former Senator Sam Nunn penned a joint op warning that the U.S. is caught in a policy paralysis with Russia that could lead to military confrontation or the use of nuclear weapons. The men wrote that a bold policy shift is needed to support a strategic re-engagement with Russia and walk back from this perilous precipice. Otherwise, our nations may soon be entrenched in a nuclear war standoff more precarious, disorienting, and economically costly than the Cold War. The 3 contend that because both countries' foreign policies are so intertwined, the risk of potential confrontation and disaster is heightened. Since the crisis broke out in Ukraine and Syria in the past few years, U.S. and Russian forces have again been operating in proximity, increasing the risk that an act of aggression followed by an accident or miscalculation will lead to catastrophe. The statement lists 3 main goals as compromising a comprehensive approach to decreasing the risk of conflict between the 2 nuclear powers. First, they contend that the U.S. must address its own dysfunctional Russia policy by bringing together a group of leaders to work on renewing dialogue with Russia. Secondly, they say that President Trump and Russian President Putin should announce a joint declaration reaffirming the dangers of nuclear war and the need for it never to be fought. Finally, they argue the 2 nations must discuss a broad framework for strategic stability, including increasing decision time for leaders in a period of global destabilization and emerging military technologies. Shultz, Perry, and Nunn argue that without renewed engagement between the U.S. and Russia, risk for nuclear war could reach levels that surpass that of the Cold War, writing that it is essential that we re-engage with Russia in areas of common fundamental interest to both nations, including reducing reliance on nuclear weapons, keeping them out of unstable hands, preventing their use and ultimately ending them as a threat to the world. And Newsweek is reporting Russia's most powerful nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile has been undergoing its final stage of testing, with other advanced weapons on the way and some already in service. At a promotion and award ceremony for senior officers on Thursday, Russian President Putin hailed recent achievements of his military, especially in forwarding ambitious plans to develop weapons said to be capable of overcoming existing and even prospective defense systems. He then revealed some of the latest progress for these modern, powerful precision weapons that are determining and will determine in the future the image of Russia's armed forces. The final test involving the Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile has been a success. As you may know, the Kinzhal hypersonic system has been placed on alert duty. The Navy's new surface ships and nuclear submarines will be armed with advanced types of weapons, including the Sirkon hypersonic missile, which has no parallels in the world in terms of range and speed. It goes on further to report that the Russian defense minister later told reporters that the Sarmat had reached the next stage of testing. The defense minister also stated that the weapon systems capable of being fitted to the Sarmat would be combat alert by December. The Sarmat, with a range of up to 11,000 kilometers, is a strategic weapon of last resort capable of carrying up to 24 nuclear-armed, independently targetable re-entry vehicles and has been touted as Russia's effort to preserve global strategic stability amid U.S. plans to develop advanced missile defenses. It is said that this is a heavy ballistic missile that's capable of defeating or ripping to shreds, literally, any missile defense system to pieces, whether existing or prospective. Once deployed, the Sarmat is expected to serve as a deterrent to a number of Pentagon initiatives, including the attempt to build an effective missile defense shield and the so-called Prompt Global Strike Massed Precision-Guided Conventional Weapon Airstrike Program, which aims potentially include the elimination of an adversary's strategic response before it can be launched. Just 1 month earlier, President Donald Trump had unveiled his 2019 Missile Defense Review, vowing to detect and destroy any missile launched against the United States, anywhere, anytime. President Trump's report specifically cited the threat of Russia and China's development of hypersonic and cruise missile technology in his case for establishing ambitious new measures, such as space-based interceptors that Moscow and Beijing have warned may spark an arms race. And Reuters is reporting that U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Friday accused China of aiding Venezuela's economic collapse by bankrolling President Maduro's government, and said Russian troop presence in the country was an obvious provocation. He said China and others are being hypocritical in calling for non-intervention in Venezuela's affairs. Their own financial interventions have helped destroy the country. He slammed the arrival of Russian troops in Venezuela as well, and said Russia's investments in police training and a satellite compound, to put it mildly, aren't good. We shouldn't stand for Russia escalating an already precarious situation in these ways. In the meantime, military news and defense news, as well as many other sources, is reporting that the U.S. Army Terminal Missile Defense System is headed to Eastern Europe. So far, only the Pacific region and more recently the Middle East have seen operational deployments of the U.S. Army's Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, otherwise known as THAAD. But now it's headed to Romania this summer. Questions have swirled for years on when, where, and if THAAD would deploy to Europe, particularly as the situation on the eastern flank has heated up since Russia annexed Crimea in 2014. The THAAD system will deploy this summer in support of NATO ballistic missile defense. In other words, it's filling in for the operational Aegis Ashore missile defense system while it undergoes a limited period of scheduled maintenance and updates. The Aegis Ashore in Romania has been operational since 2016. It is a part of the European Phased Adaptive Approach, or EPAA, designed to defend U.S. troops and its allies in Europe against possible ballistic missile attacks. The EPAA consists of an ANTPY-2 radar in Turkey and 2 Aegis Ashore systems, one in Romania and one in Poland. It goes on even further to report that NATO's Allied Air Command will have operational control of the THAAD during its mission. The statement was clear that the updates will not add offensive capabilities to the system and maintains that the site provides a defensive capability to deter further conflict and to defend ourselves and our NATO allies should deterrence fail. So definitely some very interesting news there. In fact, a lot has happened this week, and I wanted to make sure I brought you guys these headlines before your weekend. But I'd love to hear from all of you, so please do leave your comments in the comments section. Tell me what you think about what's happening. Also, if you have a free moment, come and visit us on Facebook, where we have these stories and many more, as well as our website at www.cww7news.org. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and God bless.
And these Edomites, and that's what it is,
don't
man.
FOMO. Don't fear of
More on wars and rumors of wars, man. That's what time it is. Wars and rumors of war. More news on wars and rumors of war. Because we must stay watch on what's going on. There's a lot going on that people are not paying attention to. And that's the duty, man. That's what watchmen do. Keep watch. All this is prophecy, man. All these nations is gathering together. Like I tell you in Joel 3:9. The Lord is gathering all these nations so they can get ready to fight against him when he returns. The Most High is sending his son Yahushua back. And Yahushua is gathering these nations, man, so they can get ready to fight. Yahushua is gathering these nations so they can get ready to fight against the Lord. Real quick, this is Revelation 12:7. And it reads, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was there a place found any more in heaven. So that's what Yahushua tell you that, Luke 10:18, he said he saw Satan fall as lightning, meaning falling out of their rulership, out of their kingdom, out of their power seat. In Isaiah 14:12, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, which did weakest the nations? Because they are fallen, man. Okay? Their kingdom, they know their kingdom is fallen. So that's why 2 Corinthians 2:11 coming into play. For we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. Least Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. Revelation 12:12. The devil know that he have but a short time, so he finna come down with great wrath. Okay? Job 14:5, man. When they say their days are numbered, okay? The Most High numbered their days, they bound, they cannot pass, man. So this 5G is a part of them coming down with great wrath, man. Okay? Because they know that all these 3, 4, 5Gs, man, they know they killing people, man. They know that. With counsel, with radiation. These Edomites know these things, man. But their job is to be the wicked. Their job is to be the wicked, man. This is Isaiah 19:2. Read this real quick. Isaiah 19:2. And it reads, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the chambers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will like give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. So, amen. They finna be destroyed by who? By Russia, North Korea, Syria, Iran. All these things is coming to pass, man. That's why we must stay tuned in to what's really going on around the world, man. Now this is Zechariah 14 and verse 12. And it reads, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Jerusalem is you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indian, and Haitians. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and the hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. Okay? So this was going down, man. The destruction of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, man. Finna destroy these Edomites and these heathen nations, man. Okay? But when he said the Egyptian against the Egyptians, who is that, man? That's the North American Edomites against the Russian Edomites. Okay? Hey, so Lord's witness is edifying. Gotta give our praise to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, and the sincere say, taking to all the doctrine, pushing this truth to the full winds of the earth, waking up the hopeful elect. Shalom.